Hi, this is David Davis from virtualizationsoftware.com, and I'm here at VMworld Europe in Barcelona, and I'm honored to be with Mr. Mattias Sundling from Nutanix.
Thank you, David. Nice to have you here.
It's great to have you. So, Nutanix is now your new employer, right?
Yeah. I'm starting at this show, actually, my second day at the job. So
second day with
it's
Nutanix.
Exciting times, yeah.
Yeah, already out here on the show floor.
Yeah, it's been a great show, lots of buzz around Nutanix, and many customer and partners, and it's lots of excitement around us right now.
Great. Yeah, the booth here is packed. Unlike some other booths around, this booth is got a big crowd around it, so there must be something exciting here. Now, I was told by Steve Kaplan that you guys are a software company, so I wanted to ask you the obvious question: what is this hardware here? What do you guys do with this, and how does it help your customers?
Yeah, so what Steve said, that we're a software company, so the secret sauce about our solution is definitely in the software layer. But in order to run virtualization, we need some kind of hardware underneath. So what you see here in front of you, David, is our typical block. It consists of 4 different hosts. And if you see here, this is one of them. It's a typical host with dual sockets, about 256 gig of RAM, and it has 2 10 gigabit Ethernet adapters. It has 2 1 gigabit Ethernet adapters, and then also a 100 megabit connection for management, for BIOS and power operations and stuff like that. And the hypervisors comes pre-installed on this little chip over here. So on the SATA controller is a small chip so actually it's a small hard drive. So when you unplug or when you pack this up first time, you put it in your rack. It's 2U high. You get 4 servers. You got a lot of different storage, and depending on your needs, you have different options of how much compute you can have and also how much storage. But the whole idea is to have very simplified commodity hardware and then have local attached storage. So we have, for each node, we have 5 SATA drives and 1 SSD drive. So that's basically, so we got 24 drives in total here for this block.
There's 4 nodes here.
Yeah.
Okay.
6 drive each. So what you've done here, you kind of a very hyper-converged box where we have 4 vSphere hosts and about 20 terabyte of storage and also SSD tier as well. So when we talk about the software before a little bit, and what the secret sauce is when we actually put this in the rack and power on, is our software that runs, it's called a controller VM. So all the logic, there's no RAID controllers or no appliance or hardware that's doing just a certain thing. So everything, no SAN. There's we're clustering all these drives. So when you set up the system, a visitor will come up and will actually automatically discover all your nodes. So you'll see 4 nodes and all your storage, and we'll create a Nutanix cluster. And the Nutanix cluster will actually add all your hosts. It will put a storage container around all your drives, and it will make that highly available to shared across all your nodes. For VMware, we use NFS, so the controller VM will actually share that all the storage up to the hypervisor over NFS. So that's where the controller VM is responsible for when all the reads and writes goes through the controller VM. It has 8 vCPU and 16 gig of RAM. So it uses the cache inside that memory. So all writes goes to memory, and then it moves down to the SSD tier. And when that happens, we have inline deduplication. So we get about 10x reduction of read and writes down to that tier, and it's done on the fly. And then after a while, when the data gets cold, it automatically moves down to the SATA tier for higher capacity. So that's basically how the Nutanix cluster works. And we're designed the entire distributed file system, the Nutanix distributed file system, for the same approach Google and Facebook uses, and to tolerate individual drives to fail, even entire node can fail. What will happen then is all the VMs that we're running on this hardware will then VMware HA kick in and start those VM on the other nodes. And under normal operations, all reads and writes are on the local drives. But in a disaster scenario where you lose a host, then the VMs will maybe only a third of the blocks will be on the local drives, and then we'll use a 10 gig Ethernet to read the blocks from the other nodes that are all available on other nodes, and at the same time we'll cache those blocks locally, and then distribute those blocks over to the other VM, so you can still maintain your high availability.
Wow. So it's got high availability. It uses VMware's distributed resource scheduler still?
Yeah, we integrate, so it's a very seamless integration with the hypervisor. So there's nothing that we add an additional layer of complexity or anything. We just makes the process of getting up and running very quickly, like 15 minutes, you're up and running. And then you will add, the host will be in your normal vCenter console. So you'll manage it as the same way as you're using. Hypervisor is pre-installed, all you have to do is add your license key, and then you unlock your licenses and your features, and will operate as normal with all the HA, DRS, and everything else.
So how many roughly virtual machines do you typically get on a 4-node?
Well, we have like different models. It really depends on what model you're at. So for the smallest model, for SMB customers or more for branch offices, the smallest model for VDI, for example, we guarantee 50 simultaneously users for each node. So for a block will be 200. Yeah, this one can run 400 users at the same time. Very high performance without any performance problems.
And then I understand you have built-in replication?
Yeah, so for customers that have SRM, we have an adapter for SRM, so you can use that framework. Okay. We have also built in our own DR with both snapshots, not hypervisor snapshots, but array snapshots on a VM level. Okay. We have replication, so you can replicate each VM to different sites. One-to-one or one-to-multiple sites, and also backup VMs, so you can actually snap VMs and send them to another site, for example.
Very nice.
For recovery.
Very nice.
So that's very quickly what the Nutanix is all about. Kind of a combination of hardware and software. Most of the intelligence and all the hard work we have done is in the software layer, but as I said, we need the iron to take care of all the things underneath.
Very cool. Well, it's an exciting solution. I understand people have called it hyper-convergence, but no matter what the term is, it's certainly innovative, and there's a lot of excitement here about it. So I appreciate your time and explanation of what Nutanix is and how it can help. Thanks very much.
Thank you, David.